What up, Hyperchange? Welcome to another episode. Today we're talking about Arcimoto. This is a tiny little electric vehicle startup that just IPO'd about a year ago. I've gotten a ton of requests to make an episode about the company, and just yesterday I spent all day at the LD Micro conference here in New York City, watched about 15 to 20 microcap companies present their business models. Arcimoto was one of them. Learned a ton about their business. Actually even had the chance to talk to the CEO after for a couple minutes. Thought this would be a perfect time to update you on the company. So per usual, we'll start with Arcimoto's business, then go into the financials, then go into the valuation of the company. So let's start. So Arcimoto makes this electric vehicle that they believe has sort of invented a new category that they are calling fun utility vehicles. Their stock ticker is even FUV, and this is sort of a hybrid in between a motorcycle and a scooter and a car. It's 100% electric. It sort of also looks like an ATV, some sort of off-roading vehicle. I don't know. It's really, I've never really seen anything like it. It's this sort of very interesting looking three-wheel device. I'll let you decide whether you like it or not, and it's gonna take off. Founded about 10 years ago by Mark Frohmeyer, who is originally a software and video game developer before deciding to go into the electric vehicle market. And the company has been in sort of, refining and perfecting their technology for the past 10 years. And then in 2016, first announced their commercial vehicle that would be going into production, which is this crazy little three-wheeler. So since then, they began taking pre-orders, a very similar business model to Tesla. They actually have over 3,000 pre-orders for these cars as of today. The starting base price for this fun utility vehicle will be about $11,900. They're expecting the average selling price for these utility vehicles to be about $15,000. So, it's cheaper than almost every single brand new car out there, but a little more expensive than a motorcycle. Sort of trying to be in the sweet spot for a new type of urban transport. I've never seen anybody driving a three-wheeler around like this, so I don't know how big the market's gonna be, but that is where they're pricing it. And so you may ask me, like, are these on the road? Can you buy them now? Are they working through their backlog? So it's a little bit confusing, but they have this slide on their website that basically indicates they're building about 10 or 15 units of the fun utility vehicle in Q2 of this year. Those are beta units. Then in Q3, they're gonna steadily ramp production before significantly ramping production in Q4 of this year and starting to eat through that backlog. So it looks like they're gonna start these initial deliveries in the second half of this year. That'll be the start of them generating significant revenue, because right now they're pretty much just losing money. They did include a couple tidbits in the presentation. The company plans to hit a production run rate of 200 a week or 10,000 per year by the end of 2019. So that's sort of their goal in terms of a long-term production ramp. They think they'll need about 250 employees working at the factory to get there. Additionally, the Arcimoto has a very interesting go-to-market strategy. Unlike Tesla, which has its own service centers and retail stores that they're building out themselves, Arcimoto is sort of going to market in a similar way in that they have stores, but their stores aren't traditional dealers like a Tesla store. Their stores are actually rental locations where you pay Arcimoto to ride around in one of their vehicles as sort of a tourist vacation rental, and that simultaneously doubles as marketing for them. So the first one of these sort of rental tourism marketing facility hybrid locations is going in Eugene, Oregon, right where the company's headquartered. Then they're planning to build another one in California soon. So that is sort of their strategy about how to get the word out. Another thing that I think is really cool about Arcimoto is they're super active on YouTube. They even post their quarterly update, like basically conference call, quarterly shareholder letter as a video on YouTube. The CEO is driving around in one of the Arcimoto cars doing the quarterly update. I think that's just hilarious and awesome. So you should definitely all check that out. I'll put the link below. But anyway, now let's move to the financials. This cool little company, do we think they're gonna be able to succeed or not? Well, up until this point, they've been burning a ton of money because they're not actually selling cars. They're just developing the technology. They lost about $2 million in 2016. Then in 2017, they lost a little over $3 million, generated about $100,000 in revenue from some initial units and from some grants. Then in 2018, through the first 6 months, we're looking at a loss of over $4 million, just about $100,000 in revenue. So the company is burning capital here, but this entire income statement is gonna get flipped on its head as they start to deliver more and more vehicles and start trending towards profitability. So it's sort of totally up in the air, when they're gonna be profitable, even if they're gonna be profitable, how much revenue growth is gonna happen. We don't know any of that because it's still all up in the air and based on the manufacturing ramp. So Arcimoto has about 16 million shares outstanding as of Q2, and they're trading at about $4 a share as I make this episode. So the company is looking at about a $64 million market cap, which is super, super tiny. And I mean, if we assume that their 3,000 car backlog on orders that they have are gonna sell for 15,000 each, the company actually has about a $45 million revenue backlog for its vehicles that is gonna start to work through in Q3 and Q4 of this year. So that is really promising. And if they are able to ramp to that 200 units per week by the end of 2019, 10,000 units a year, you know, that's a revenue run rate of $150 million per year by the end of 2019 if they actually hit their goals. So I think Arcimoto stock genuinely could have huge, huge upside. I mean, Tesla stock trades about 2 times sales. If Arcimoto traded about 2 times sales at the end of 2019 when they're doing 10,000 units a year run rate, that at 150 million in revenue, that's about a 300 million market cap. Let's assume they dilute a little, 20 million shares outstanding. You're looking at potentially, you know, a $15 share price from a $4 stock. So that is why I think this company is worth following. You know, a ton of potential. They're super, super tiny. Unlike Tesla, if you're investing in these guys, you're getting in super, super early on the ground floor of what could be big, I guess. But now the question is really, can they sell 10,000 of these cars per year? And that is where I'm less convinced about Arcimoto. I mean, this is an unproven market. It's a new category, the fun utility vehicle. They do have some tidbits the CEO gave me. Polaris sells about 300 and something thousand of its ATVs per year in North America. There's a little over 100,000 snowmobile sales per year in North America. So even if the Arcimoto stays as sort of a niche, you know, fun outdoorsy vehicle and doesn't go mainstream, it could still sell, you know, 50 to 100,000 units a year, which would be hundreds of millions in revenue and justify a much, much bigger valuation. And I did ask the CEO what his projected gross margin is. He said around 27%. I'm assuming that means like at maturity in the long run. That wraps up my review of Arcimoto. I mean, in short, I think this is a quirky little company, really interesting new product, love the innovation, but I'm not convinced it's gonna take off in the real world. You know, I just don't know who's actually gonna buy these, but beyond the enthusiastic early adopters. But that being said, I'm a huge proponent of this, you know, electrification, you know, the revolution going on in the transport industry to make things more sustainable. I'm a huge advocate of that. So I'm a big fan of Arcimoto just in the fact that they're trying to do good, trying to reduce emissions, thinking outside the box. You know, I wish them all the best of luck, but I'm just skeptical that they can find, you know, consistently 10,000 people a year to actually pay for this product. But if they do, I think this company could succeed, could build on their technology, could launch other adjacent products, and could become a really exciting player in the future of transport, but it's all about execution. So we'll see if they can do it. I'll be following the company here on the channel. Would love to know what you think in the comments below. This is Hyperchange. If you like the show, definitely check out our Patreon page and consider supporting there. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.